Honey, what did you do yesterday?
I decided to take an ice bath. Yesterday was Father's Day. We got invited by some friends to go to a pool party. In the text, it was pool party slash ice bath slash infrared sauna. And we're like, well, that sounds kind of different and cool. Why not go?
So we got there, and the first thing we did is we'd never been to this house, so we look all around and we see massive pool in the backyard, super pretty, slack lines across the pool and in the yard, and then a massive, it was like farm equipment.
Like a trough.
Yeah, of ice water filling up. And then around the corner, we saw the infrared sauna, and he had his own little deep freezer that was his own ice bath.
So we didn't have to fill up a trough every day.
Yeah.
And like an inversion table. It was very Manhattan Beach kind of feely, Hermosa Beach kind of house.
Yeah, that's California if you're not in California watching it. Everybody started arriving and just hanging out.
Yeah, it was like a regular pool party for at least a few hours.
You were looking.
Okay, so we looked, I made fun of it. At one point we were all standing around and I was like, okay, because I put my hand in, I was like, it was cold. I just stepped in it, like just my feet stepped in it. And I stayed in for
90 seconds.
90 seconds.
I timed it.
And it was cold. I mean, it was really cold. It was really cold.
And then eventually, after a few hours, everybody's like kind of standing around, and the host Jesse's like by. So we're like, okay, how did you get into it? What's the methodology? What do we do? He's like, well, it starts with breathing exercises. So of course I was like, oh, so when are you doing them? And then I was like, so then I volunteered.
Which, by the way, she has the tattoo, Hanalue?
Hanu'aho.
Which stands for breathe in Hawaiian, tattooed on herself, and she's telling me to go do this.
Yeah, I was like, well, I have it tattooed. I know how to breathe, so clearly he should do the breathing exercises.
So I'm looking at everybody like they have like an extra eye and a few extra foreheads, like, because this is not my thing. And he's like, we're gonna do 3 rounds, 2 minutes, and then a 15-second hold your breath, blah. We're gonna do 3 rounds of that, and then we're gonna get in the ice bath.
He looked so skeptical when they were getting the description of the breathing exercises.
I was like, yeah, I was cool up until that point, and then I was like, what is going on? And he's talking about Wim Hof, which is apparently the guy.
So I'd heard of him because I'm a huge Tim Ferriss fangirl, and he's interviewed him. He's like, he climbed Everest. He didn't summit it, but he climbed Everest wearing shorts. He's had endotoxins, like poisons, injected in his body and not been affected. So this guy has crazy
like he's
physiological
able to control the physiological responses of his body.
So he can survive ice cold for really long periods, and he has a whole methodology. So that's what Jonathan got to.
Well, and Jesse was certified. I found out he's certified in the Wim Hof technique.
Learned from him.
So we all get in kind of a bonding drum circle. There were no drums. And we all started to do the breathing. And at the beginning, I will say I was hesitant. Very hesitant. But then once we started getting into it, the effects were really fascinating. It was you breathe like a child. So it's like in through the nose and your stomach goes out, and then out through the mouth, and you do it rapidly. And then after 2 minutes, you would hold your breath for a minute.
So, but this is kind of like like hyperventilating that people can die from, done wrong, done incorrectly. Like that causes like shallow water death sometimes.
Okay, I did not know that. Thank you for telling me now.
Well, no, I mean...
I just knew that you got a little lightheaded, like you felt sensation in my hands and tingling.
Yeah.
Because you're oxygenating your blood, you're reducing the carbon dioxide, increasing the oxygen, because you're breathing in so much.
So we're gonna actually post some links underneath, because please don't try this at home, because it could be dangerous. He was with a trained professional.
Yeah, a trained professional.
Yeah. So we should mention that part. Please don't try this on your own. So, after the breathing exercises, you were the second one in.
Yes, so we get finished with the 3rd round, and he's like, okay, who wants to go first? And literally, the guy who's sitting next to me goes, I'll go. Like a half a second before I was gonna be like, I'll be the first one to go. So he jumps in and he does it. Everybody was gonna do it for 90 seconds. So he does it. And so then I go second, and I was like, I was not wanting to do it in the beginning. And then after the breathing, your body feels energized, like you can do it.
Okay.
It's a weird sensation going from just like being normal and just getting in. It would like shock. I feel like it would shock your body so much. But doing the breathing exercises really made a difference in preparing your body. It's kind of like stretching before doing a run.
Okay.
It was like stretching before getting into the ice bath, preparing it in that way. So you held on.
I'm gonna pull the video up, and then you guys will be able to see it too. 1 second.
And so you held on to the sides, and he was like, okay, ready, go. And you just jump in and you go up to your neck in the water.
What was your first thought?
Okay, so I had two simultaneous thoughts. The first thought was, oh my gosh, I have to pee. And it was crazy. I'm like,
which is weird. I wouldn't think you'd have to pee in like freezing water.
well, you wouldn't think so, but like I had to pee and I'm like, well, I could go, nobody will really know, but then it was like, that would be weird because there's gonna be people going after me, that sort of thing. So then I didn't pee, just in case everybody was wondering.
Nice.
But I think the first 15 seconds are the hardest, or the scariest, because it's a shock to the system that your first thing is it's fight or flight.
Okay.
And your brain goes into how to protect myself. And I literally was like, I don't think I can do this. And then that's when you have to go to the breathing.
Which is crazy because your face looked so zen the entire time. Like you looked so calm that you couldn't tell. It looked.
Well, I don't think if you're not, I honestly don't think if you're focusing on all sorts of other things, you couldn't do it. You have to be completely focused because otherwise the sensation of everything going on, I mean, you're in 30-degree ice water.
Yeah.
So literally I got in and my first thought was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this for 90 seconds? And then from there, I went to breathing with the deep inhale and then the exhale to kind of slow everything. And from that, I started thinking I could, I would be able to manage it. And the guy before me had his hands out holding onto the edge. I went completely under. Mm-hmm. So like when my hands were clenched, my hands were fine. But when my hands were open, the fingers got really cold. So it was really kind of fascinating because by a minute, I didn't think I was gonna be able to make it through. I was like, this is the longest minute ever.
And then you did it. So then you got out, and what was it like then getting out?
I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get out. I was gonna be like, am I gonna be too cold? All this sort of stuff. So I was able to get out. And then it's like your body is like super cold on the outside, but you are so energized and you feel like you just had a major rush of adrenaline. What Jesse was saying was on the beginning is just after the breathing exercise alone, those 3 reps, is like the adrenaline that you get after doing a bungee jump for your first time.
Oh,
so that was just after the breathing.
Okay.
So then doing the ice bath itself, my first thought was like, if I did this every morning, I would never ever need coffee ever again.
Oh, interesting.
It really, the senses were heightened, really awake, really in tune. I don't do a lot of breathing exercises, so that
you
alone,
don't say.
So that alone was very powerful. But then afterwards, the feeling of it, like the body's really cold.
Yeah.
So you have to go back to doing faster breathing to get the heart rate up to heat the body.
Yeah. Yeah, because I noticed that the other guy tried to have done before you was still focusing after.
Yeah.
Was that part of the directions, or was that just a normal response?
I mean, I didn't ask him. I don't know. But for me, it was like I had to do what I could do for myself. So I kind of stood there and was still doing the breathing, but trying to focus and just getting warm because,
Yeah.
been in ice water for 90 seconds.
No, that makes total sense. And then, so after, because I don't think I've ever seen you so zen in my entire life.
Okay.
Well, the entire life I've known you. So after that.
Well, I'm not zen.
No, he's not remotely zen. And so, but I was interested to see what the kids thought. Rylan was far more interested in the goldfish tank there. And I interviewed Laura, and here's what she said. Did you see Daddy get in? No, why?
I was busy eating.
You didn't get in, because why?
Because I was swimming.
Because what?
When I was swimming in the water.
You were swimming in the water?
Yeah. Not the ice.
Not the ice?
No, the lake and there was no ice.
No ice. Do you want to go swimming in ice?
No. It'd be too deep and I can't get out.
Yeah, that's probably true. Is it neat that Daddy swam in it? Maybe. That said, would you do it again?
Absolutely. I could get into it.
Okay.
I don't know if I would want to start off getting my own ice bath.
We have a deep freezer.
We do, but it's filled with really good food.
Excuses.
I also think, I don't think doing a cold shower. Some people would swear by it.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing. I mean, I guess you could do the breathing, but it's not the same as just immersing yourself. But I know Jesse was saying he wants to have people over on a weekly basis to kind of do this. And I think it would be really cool. I think the breathing was really helpful. I think the breathing would be helpful for you too. And then just that experience. Apparently too, your metabolism kicks up by 4 times just by doing an ice bath because the body's working so hard.
Oh, that's right.
To heat itself because you're in such a cold temperature.
Sweet. So we're going to post helpful links below.
And
Lord knows what we'll get him into next week.
oh, and thanks for watching, y'all.
Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.
Smash those likes.
Wow.